Hello, my name is Franz and welcome to my channel. So for today's video, I would actually want to talk about my auto-buy romance authors. So what does that mean? I want to talk about the best of the best, at least in my opinion, romance authors out there. These are the authors that when they publish something or they announce that they will be publishing another book, I will immediately pre-order their book. No questions asked. Like, I don't even have to know what the book is about. I will just immediately pre-order it in Kindle. Make sure that I have the Kindle copy on the day of the release. Make sure that I will read the Kindle copy on the day of the release. And then also wait for my pre-order physical book a few days after the release. So yeah, I will go through my top 3 auto-buy authors and maybe quick reasons why I consider them an auto-buy. Something you have to know about me is that at the core of it, I am actually a fantasy girl. What does that mean? I love fantasy. I grew up on fantasy. I used to exclusively read only fantasy books actually. I have only recently discovered the sandwich method or the palate cleanser method, wherein after reading a fantasy book, try and pick up another genre before reading and picking up another one. So is that if I have to switch in between fantasy series, meaning that I will pick up a book that is not in the same series as the one I previously read, I need to palate cleanse in the middle. That means after finishing this first fantasy book, I need to switch my genre before picking up another fantasy series, because in my head I will get overwhelmed with all of these elements and I might hit a slump. That was actually what has been happening in the past few years. So I tried out the sandwich method, or like the palate cleansing method, during the pandemic, and it really worked. I do still hit slumps, but then I managed to go through them every few months. The palate cleansing genre that I picked during the pandemic is actually romance. So I consider romance as a palate cleansing genre, but then I started liking it much more than just a palate cleanser. So there are times wherein I would really crave for romance books. And whenever I do crave for romance books, I find that these auto-buy authors are the ones that will not disappoint me. They will be there, they will have their books. If I pick up their books, I will get what I want and I will leave happy. So these are 3 auto-buy authors for me. These are my top 3 romance authors as of right now. Again, this is more of a personal preference. I know there are a lot of romance authors out there, but again, as somebody who has just recently during the pandemic picked up romance as a genre, I started just consciously reading and picking up and choosing, and not just a subplot in a fantasy book. I'm very new to this, but in the past few years, these are the authors that, without any fail, really delivered the romance that I was craving for. I will do another reading vlog actually of me trying out new romance authors, because I follow a lot of booktubers. I was inspired to do this because of my 2 favorite booktubers, girlie and Larry Reed. So you guys should check them out if you have not yet, which is kind of weird because everybody knows them and everybody follows them. They are my favorite booktubers. I also follow them on TikTok. And these 2, my 2 favorite booktubers, are romance girlies at their core. So in another reading vlog, I would try to read basically the 2 most talked about authors from those 2 booktubers, and I will try to see if I will actually like them. But for this specific reading vlog, I will focus on the romance authors, the 3 romance authors that I absolutely love and I would swear my life to. So the first romance author that is considered an auto-buy author for me, and I'm pretty sure this is not a surprise to anyone, is actually Emily Henry. So I only have 2 physical copies of her books because I mostly have her books in Kindle. And I sort of myself that I would just buy secondhand copies of romance books that I've already read, so as not to break the bank. But anyway, Emily Henry is an author that I actually discovered during the pandemic. The first book that I read from her is neither of these 2 has actually Beach Read. And this might come as a surprise to everyone, but I was actually not that impressed with Beach Read. And before I get any violent reactions, please understand Now, when I read Beach Read, I was not yet a romance girly. I was just starting to pick up romance books as palate cleansers, and I really had no desire back then I was not consciously picking up romance books because I want the plot or I want to read romance. I was just picking them up so that to use them as palate cleansers so that I don't go into a reading slump while reading my favorite fantasy books. So, given that, I first read Beach Read by Emily Henry, and I was not impressed at all. I did not understand how that was a romance. There was still no concept for me back then of a romance like Emily Henry writes it, right? How Emily Henry writes romance is a completely different way of writing romance versus the other authors that I will actually talk about later on. So it's a completely different concept of romance for me. I was expecting the very fast-paced, very light, very quick read romance, and I did not get it. I was so confused why everyone was hyping it up, because in my head this doesn't feel like a romance. This doesn't read like a romance. It's more of like a I don't know, I just read it more of like a relationship kind of thing, and I don't know how to explain it, but it wasn't clicking for me how that was considered a romance or like the usual one that I would see. Anyway, I actually used to have a book club with my previous workmates. We used to call ourselves the Kindle Garden because we all have our Kindles and we would read. During the pandemic, we would just buy Kindle books and then we would read them together. So our book club is called the Kindle Garden, and our pictures in our group chat is actually our childhood selves, or like a younger picture of us, because we're like kindergartens or like kindergartens, right? Anyway, so one of my book club mates, she actually told me, oh, you read Beach Read and you didn't like it. Maybe you should try another work of Emily Henry. That might be your style. You know what? You should read People We Meet on Vacation. So I told her, but I maybe it might not be the correct type of romance. Maybe I just don't like the writing style of the author. Maybe it just wasn't my vibe, should I really pick it up? She was like, yeah, you should definitely pick up People We Meet on Vacation. It has a completely different style. It has a completely different flow versus Beach Read, and in her opinion back then, it was absolutely amazing and much better than Beach Read. And again, before I get any violent reactions, I know Beach Read is well loved by many, and a lot of people actually consider that like the best Emily Henry work. But for people like me back then, who had a completely different idea about romance, who was looking for a more contemporary romance, who was looking for a more conventional romance, People We Meet on Vacation is actually a good Emily Henry starting point. Now that one I will hold on to, because if you're just starting with Emily Henry, if you do not know yet how Emily Henry writes romance, or if a bookworm actually usually reads romance books, but romance books in a different scale versus Emily Henry, more rom-com, more of the falling in love than the actual romance, then People We Meet on Vacation is actually a good starting point, because this feels more like a conventional romance and would be a good shift for you to start thinking about the idea of romance to more of Emily Henry style. Does that even make sense? I don't know, maybe I'm rambling, but again, I read Beach Read first, was not really that impressed, and then my friend told me to pick up People We Meet on Vacation and absolutely fell in love. This was, I would say, the starting point for the Emily Henry craze for me. Not Beach Read, People We Meet on Vacation. So after reading this, I immediately pre-ordered Book Lovers by Emily Henry, and the moment this came out, I opened it in my Kindle, read it in one sitting, they gave stars, and then picked up a physical copy of the book. Like, that is how obsessed I am with Emily Henry. And then when I found out that she was gonna release another one, which was Happy Place, I also pre-ordered that one. I read it the day it was published, immediately finished it in one sitting, and then posted on Goodreads. And I have an Emily Henry obsession, and I actually also have A Funny Story, the next Emily Henry book, on pre-order, and I will keep pre-ordering shit from Emily Henry. I don't even know what A Funny Story is about. I absolutely have no idea what the next book is going to be about, but I already have it on pre-order. So really, I don't know what else can brew that. The next autobi author for me is a guilty pleasure. That's really all I would say. Like, I know this author has received a lot of criticism already, but honestly, I don't care. Like, her books make me happy. Her books actually bring me out of reading slumps, and she might keep on churning out books with similar tropes and similar storylines, and I will keep eating that shit up. And you guys know who this author is. This is Ali Hazelwood. Honestly, like, okay, she's a guilty pleasure, and I'm not even guilty. I don't know how to call it, but her books make me happy. I know it's the same trope, 3 different styles. I know it's the same vibe. I know they're like very similar characters or something, but I don't care. They're freaking good. I become happy reading these books, and that's really all that matters in romance, right? Like, I don't know what you guys complain about. If you don't like the trope, don't pick it up. But Ali Hazelwood, an autobi author for me. Here's the thing with Ali Hazelwood. You know what to expect, and you're gonna get it. Like, you will not be disappointed. If you will come in knowing what you want, and you will get what you want. And why is that bad? Like, there's nothing bad about that. Like, I will come in, I will open an Ali Hazelwood book with an expectation to squeal, to scream, to get kilig. Kilig is a Filipino word wherein you just feel like really giddy because of some romantic thing. And I will be all those things, and I will do all those things reading Ali Hazelwood's works. So, come on guys. Like, I don't understand where all the criticism is coming from, because if you don't want the same exact trope, if you don't want the same exact vibes, then maybe don't pick up the book at all. So, yeah, I love it. I love it so much. I love her books. They make me happy. I become happy picking them up. The thing about me is that as long as the book clicks for me, like, I get immersed, I'm happy as a reader. Ali Hazelwood is one of my autobi authors. She will actually have a lot of upcoming books, if I'm not mistaken. So she has Checkmate on November 7. I don't know if it will be out by the time I release this video. So I have that on pre-order as well. She also has an upcoming fantasy book called Bride. I think it's about vampires, but I'm not sure. But I also have that on pre-order, but that's coming out next year. Also coming out next year is another romance book from hers. I saw the poster, no, not the poster, sorry. I saw the cover for this book, and it has a completely different vibe from the Feminist series. So I am so excited for that one. I have pre-ordered the first two, like the Checkmate and Bride, but I have not yet pre-ordered the last one because I think I just saw it last month or 2 months ago. So I will definitely pre-order that. So again, Ali Hazelwood, you come in wanting something and you will get it. Like, you come in with an expectation to squeal, you come in with an expectation to feel giddy about romance, and you will get those things. Like, there's nothing scientific about it, there's nothing complicated about it. You get the rom-com that you want. So just to recap, my first autobi author is Emily Henry. My second autobi author is Ali Hazelwood. My third autobi romance author, that is actually a recent discovery for me, is Lauren Asher. So for Lauren Asher, I have her complete Dreamland Billionaire series, so the fine print, terms and conditions, and final offer. I also have books 1 and 2 of the Dirty Air series, or the F1 series, most commonly known, Throttled and Collided. I have yet to pick up books 3 and 4 because I have actually not yet finished reading Collided. So Lauren Asher, very recent discovery for me. I first picked up, I think Throttled was the first book that I read from her. I was immediately hooked by this one. So again, it's not like it's a 5-star series for me. It's not a 5-star book for me. It's romance at its core. It's not inventing anything new, right? But it just made me giddy. It made me squeal, and that's all I ask from a romance book. So after I picked this up, I know that her other series, the Dreamland Billionaire series, is very well regarded on TikTok. So I decided to pick up the 3 books, the trilogy. So I first pick up the fine print, terms and conditions, and the final offer. So reading the fine print, I was actually not super impressed by it. I think I rated it lower than 4 stars. But then I read terms and conditions. This is the book that bumped her to an auto-buy romance author status for me. Like, this is the one. This is the deal for her. Terms and conditions, it spoke to me. Terms and conditions, it just clicked something in my head. Like, yes, this is the type of writing that I want. This is the type of tension that I want. And although in the final offer, I was also not that impressed, she still is an auto-buy author for me. Like, I would still read her books. I would still finish the Dirty Air series. I would also buy the next series that she has, the Love Redesign series. So I'm sure I'm gonna buy that one. I have it in pre-order as well. It's gonna come out November 7th. So even though this is one of the rare ones wherein the books aren't actually 5 stars for me, even Ali Hazelwood's books aren't 5 stars for me, even Emily Henry's books aren't 5 stars for me. But I know that I will pick up their book, I will read their book in one sitting, and I will love the experience. I think that's really what constitutes as an auto-buy author for me, or that's what makes the author an auto-buy author for me. Like, I know I would enjoy their books no matter what it is, no matter what the quality is, honestly. Not all of these books are good for me. Like, not all of these books from these authors are good for me. I have some preferences. I have ones that are complete misses, especially, for example, for Emily Henry, a complete hit for me, again, was People You Meet on Vacation, Book Lovers. Misses for me are Happy Place. And even Beach Read was a miss for me. Like, I did not completely like that book. But she is still an auto-buy author for me because I absolutely love her writing style. I get immersed so fast and so well in her books. I know that if I buy her books, I would definitely read them and I would enjoy reading them. Doesn't matter what it's about, doesn't matter if it's good or not, I would enjoy the process of reading. So same with Ali Hazelwood, like, Love Hypothesis, it's a lot of work. Like, it's not perfect, but I enjoyed reading it. Love Theoretically was fantastic. Love in the Brain was kind of mid for me, but still I enjoyed reading them. And same for Lauren Asher. Like, I only have one 5-star book for her, which is Terms and Conditions. The rest are actually like 3.5s or 3.8s, not even reaching 4 stars. But I absolutely love reading her work. Like, you can be subjective and objective at the same time. My subjectivity is coming from how much I love reading these authors' works. Like, my subjectivity comes from the fact that I enjoy reading these books. My objectivity comes from the fact that I know there should be an improvement in terms of quality. I did not completely like where the story went. I did not like how there wasn't any development in some of the characters. I feel like some relationships should have been built better, etc. Two different sides of the coin, but doesn't matter, right? Like, for me, at the end of the day, if I enjoyed reading it, I would still buy books from these authors. It's just a thought out there because I know some of these authors are actually getting a lot of like criticisms on their works, and I don't know, I don't like feeling bad about reading their books. Like, I don't like it when other people make you feel bad for reading their books because they think the quality should have been better, or like they don't understand how you could like that book when it needs so much work. Like, yes, I do understand it needs work, but did I enjoy it? The answer is yes. So there's a lot of books I would actually recommend in my channel wherein I'm pretty sure quality wise it could have had more work, or it could have had more improvement. But in terms of enjoyment and in terms of how much I loved the book and how much I loved the experience of reading it, that's more of what I would convey in my channel overall. So I guess that's really it. I went off tangent with that part. So those are the 3 auto-buy romance authors that I have. I will do a reading vlog wherein I would try out other romance authors that are highly recommended by my favorite booktubers, so that I get to branch out and see what's out there more. Because again, I'm a bit new to romance in the sense that I only started picking it up consciously during the pandemic. So as palate cleansers, and now I'm consciously trying to pick it up as actual books that I want to read post-pandemic. So that's really it. Thank you so much for watching.